Hey guys, Dr. Decks here. Thank you for checking out today's video. I really appreciate it. Today we are going to be putting up joists, 2x8 joists on top of our 4x6 beams. So basically, as you follow us along today, we'll be putting different pieces of lumber in different locations, about 15 inches on center, to start framing up this deck. Hopefully we'll have a lot of that done today. Then we'll start laying down some G-tape, and we'll be going from there and starting to lay deck boards down. I don't think that'll happen today, but if you like what you see, please click that subscribe button. You can do it right now before you get into the video. I'd really appreciate it. And if you want to be notified every time we're putting out new content, click that bell icon as well. We will be using a nail gun here and there, yeah, and then we will be using screws too, so we're going to do a little bit of both. Number? Yep. So now, Andy, while I'm attaching this, I want you to cut me another one. So we're using these Fasten Master Pro headlocks to screw. These are 2 7/8 inches long, okay? And they work really well for screwing two boards together, okay? So what we like to do is when we're installing them is we try to use it, we always try to install, when we're putting a loose board on, and this is the loose board, this board's already installed. So we want to screw these from the inside, pushing against this piece, and the head pushing against the piece that's being installed, so it really grabs it good. Usually when you're trying to screw this way, the threads are only going to hit so much, and it's only going to pull it so tight. So we always try to make the head hit with the piece we're putting in. So we're going to put in screws this way every 16 inches to lock this thing together, and then we have a really solid double. It'll act just like a beam. And then we're gonna add tape to this so the moisture doesn't go in between these two and rot it out in the future.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
Why do you do that as opposed to just using a beam type board?
Okay, this is a joist. These are 2x8 joists. This is a 4x beam. Usually we use 4x6, 4x8 beams underneath joists, and then we use similar size materials on top. Like these are above the beams, so the joists go on top of the beams. This is a double. I doubled this out because we're going to be hanging a couple joists off of this, so it gives it more strength, similar to a beam. As a matter of fact, if we tie this together right, it'll be just as strong or stronger than a 4x8 beam would be. So instead of trying to hang a 4x8 beam from here, we're just doubling up to 2x8 joists to give us a similar result.
Why would you do that as opposed to just using a beam board?
Well, over there we did use a beam, but it's not traditional. This makes it a little bit easier to build this way than trying to hang a beam up here. Is kind of bulky and more difficult, and we're out of beams. We don't have any more 4x8 beams here, so if we want to keep working today, then we need to double these up instead of using a 4x8. So is that cool? Okay. Oh, and one more thing. Another thing we have to think about when we're doubling all this stuff up. If you start putting a lot of like fat-headed fasteners in the outside of your joists, on your outside rim joists, and then you go to trim this out with fascia and all that stuff, odds are you're going to be hitting the heads of these screws when you're trying to fasten your finish work. And that's very frustrating when you have this beautiful finished off deal and you're on your last 2 screws and then you hit one of these and like, ugh. So then you have to back that screw out, hopefully plug the hole with the Cortex, and then pick a different location to put that screw, and it just becomes more of a hassle. And that's why we try to keep the faces as clean as possible. There's still areas that are gonna have fasteners. We still run into them, but we try to minimize that as much as possible.
Hey guys, how's it going? Andy Deck here. Just wanted to give you a pro little tip. So we graded all of our lumber, which if you guys saw in the last video is where we go from thickest to thinnest, and we grade all the lumber in the same spot. So one end of all the boards is graded. And just a pro tip for you, when you're grading lumber, think about the orientation of your chop saw and how you're going to be cutting the boards, because obviously when we put all of our lumber up, we want the end that was graded to all be in the same spot all the way across the deck. And when we did this, I didn't think about which way I had the chop saw set up, and I have to take each one of these boards and do a helicopter with them so that I'm cutting the correct end that's graded so that we're putting the correct end up every single time.
All right, so now we've come to the point in the framing where we have some joist on top of the beams, but now we're running into where the hot tub is, so we kind of have to start framing around the hot tub. So we're putting a double rim joist, 2 joists, 1.5 inches away from the side of here, all the way around the tub. We're gonna start with 2 sides, get that framed in, frame the deck out to that point, and then we'll have to add the other 2 sides in so that we can continue on with our deck joists.
On my way over, you did.
Yeah, now this one is a little lower. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. We're gonna finish our day by continuing to joist out the rest of this deck. The next time you see us, hopefully we'll have all the framing down and G-tape, and maybe we can start laying some deck boards. Appreciate you watching. If you like what you saw, or you learned a little something, click subscribe. And if you want to be notified every time we're putting out fresh content, click that bell icon as well. Thanks again. Have a great day.